Our topic today is going to be the big show. But before we talk about the big show, we should be talking about the actual big show that's coming up. I can't believe this is real, but next weekend, WrestleMania, we're within striking distance now. There's 2 Raws and 2 Smackdowns left to go. What are you thinking of the build so far for this year's WrestleMania, John?
I think it's been great. You know, everybody was bashing the creative and Triple H and all the things about there wasn't a great build up to WrestleMania. Well, as we talked about before, the show was much later in the years. So
right.
you can't have a build up, like when you have a late January pay-per-view and then you have WrestleMania in March. It's pretty easy. You have one pay-per-view in between. You start the build up at Royal Rumble and the road to WrestleMania, as we've always said. But this road to WrestleMania was several weeks longer. So they really waited to the last pay-per-view to start the build, and I think they've done a fantastic job building up to it. It's a shame to see about Kevin Owens that he's hurt. What a terrific competitor and what a terrific guy for so long in the business. Obviously, the hope is that he'll be back, but it's a shame to see him out.
We got to talk about some controversy as we get closer to WrestleMania. There's been a lot of discussion about a promo segment this past Friday night on Smackdown. I know you and I weren't there, but we're getting a lot of different reports about what happened with Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton. What do you make of what you saw this past Friday night, John?
I thought it drew interest. And I don't know how much interest there was going to be for this. There was going to be a lot of interest. This is for a championship, and there's a lot to this. But I thought this created interest. And people are saying, well, there was a shoot. And I love the people out there, and there are hypocrites out there that will say, we need to look more like a shoot. And then when they don't know if it is a shoot or not, they go, oh, someone should be fired over this. So you can't have it both ways. You either want it entertaining, you want it personal, you want it where you can't see through it. And again, this may be 100% shoot. I have no idea if it is or not. It looks like it probably is. So what? It's something that created interest. People are going to be very interested in this match now.
Well, there's no doubt about that. I mean, there's a lot of chatter about it. I'm probably too close to the situation myself.
You think?
We want to know what you guys are thinking about this WrestleMania build. And I guess we've got to at least cover, the big news to me is not that Randy Orton finds himself without a WrestleMania opponent. We'll table that conversation for a minute. But what the heck is going on with Kevin Owens and what's next? Sometimes I think we see things happen on TV and we wonder, is that a story? I get the vibe this is not a story. And he's got to go have major surgery. Anytime you hear something like that about a neck or a back or anything with the spine, man, my radar goes up. What do you think of this announcement from Kevin Owens, and what do you hope is next?
What I hope is, I'd love for it to be a work, obviously, but it certainly doesn't look like it is, and it's terrible. Anybody who has this, especially right in the peak of their career, which Kevin Owens is, you absolutely hate it for them. Your guys are going to have this eventually. Very few guys go through without having major surgeries. And so you're going to have this somewhere probably in your career. It's just the nature of the business and the fact that wrestlers wrestle a long time. And because of that, I don't think we're jaded to it, but it's something that, you've seen so many times. And it's just as tragic every time as you see it, especially for a young guy like Kevin. I say young, compared to me, he's young, but he still has so many years left in the business. And right when he's on top of his game, I mean, he has done fantastic. It's hard to believe he's been injury-free this long. You look at the stuff that he's done from the independents to the WWE. I mean, he just has rubber bones. We always said that about Rob Van Dam. He must have rubber bones that he's not getting hurt doing all this insane stuff. And, unfortunately now it is either caught up to him or, something happened wrong or whatever happened. And now he's got to take a bunch of time off and hopefully his surgery goes very well.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers to Kevin Owens. I mean, one of the all-time greats, one of the more unsung heroes of WWE for the past several years. And I have my fingers crossed that he gets to make a speedy recovery and we see him sooner rather than later. I do want to ask your opinion, as a performer. I guess there's a report out that Kevin Owens was pretty upset that this news of him having to step away for a surgery was leaked ahead of time. He's shared through a statement, I believe, that he wanted to be the person to share this news and information with the world. He didn't want them to read about it. He wanted to be able to have the opportunity to let the fans hear it directly from him. Of course, the reporting didn't allow that, and the news leaked. What do you make of that? That he wanted to be the one to share that news? Does he have a bitch, I guess is the phrase? Does he have a gripe?
I think he has. Yes, absolutely. 100%. I completely agree that he has a bitch with this, because there's some stooge that put it out.
Yeah.
We never find the stooges. You say, people always say, oh, so that stooge needs to be beat up. That stooge needs to be fired. I completely agree with that sentiment. I remember back in 96 when I first got into WWE. I got WWE in 95, but the first time I was with all the boys, Bret Hart told everybody, if we find a stooge, we're going to beat your ass. They never found it then. We never found it since. We've always had guys come along. We find that stooge, we're going to beat your ass, which don't blame them. And I don't doubt that they would, and they should. And I love it if they did, if they had. Vampiro famously punched the stooge down in Mexico somewhere, which I'm very proud of, because it got me a job down there to be a Vampiro Americano. But most of the time, the stooges never get found out, and they suck. What a piece of shit that a stooge is that would release stuff like this, that it should have gone to Kevin to be able to do. But this stooge, whoever it was, they probably got a few likes on social media from our whatever they got. They're not getting any monetary thing out of it. They're just stooges. And that's about the lowest form of life.
I agree. It's just terrible when people stooge off big surprises. Hey, in other news, I want your feedback on this new Rusev signing that WWE's not announced, but everyone's reporting. Of course, I can't help but make that funny tongue-in-cheek transition. There's a lot of reporting out that Rusev has been re-signed. We don't know that. You and I don't have it. Well, I don't have any inside knowledge. I don't know. But that's the report that we're seeing online. But we're also reading that the former Lana, who was a big part of that act, is not going to be joining him. I, for one, absolutely loved that Rocky IV presentation of Ivan Drago, and I just thought that was great. And I'll never forget, and people get tired of me and make fun of me in the comments, but what a visual to wrestle John Cena at WrestleMania, and you make your entrance on a freaking tank. Like an all-time great WrestleMania entrance. I really wanted the duo back together. We are in that sort of, hey, the Monday night before WrestleMania, or the Monday after WrestleMania, we're going to see some returns. We're going to see some debuts. Do you think that's what we'll see with Rusev? Or is Nick Aldis going to announce that Randy Orton's WrestleMania opponent is Rusev or something like that?
I hope so. Absolutely. I love Rusev. And I mean, absolutely love him. The Bulgarian brute. I mean, he is such a fun human being in on camera and behind camera. He's a really smart guy. Had this great, amateur background in Bulgaria. He's just a good dude. And he went to AEW, and he went like the witness protection program. I don't know what the hell. You've got this guy, you can't figure out what to do with him. I mean, it just blows my mind that they didn't. I don't know what happened. Maybe there was a personality conflict. Maybe there was a problem. I have no idea what happened, but he belongs on television.
Yes.
And he is an incredible talent. He will do great things in the WWE. And I really believe that WWE will want to send a message. By the way, come to our company and we'll find a way to use you and make you a real superstar. I think they're going to use this as something to send a message, and I hope they do, because I love Rusev. I really do. I smile when I see him. I go up and hug him, and I think he's the greatest guy, and I'm so happy that he's back. I guess he's back, and I guess WWE hadn't officially announced. I hope that's what Nick Aldis says. They need somebody for Randy Orton. Randy's got to be at WrestleMania. There's no doubt about it, and I hope it's Rusev.
There's been a lot of fun speculation, but that's one I could get really excited about. I'm looking forward to seeing him back if those rumors are true. I would like to see him with Lana. I know that there's an evolution of characters and things like that, but at some point, man, we got to have them back on screen together in that presentation. I do want to ask you.
I thought they were a great duo together. I thought Lana was fantastic. I thought Lana did a wonderful job, and Rusev. Like I've already talked about how much I like Rusev. I think that they're fantastic together, and it just seems like I don't know about the odd couple. Obviously Lana's very pretty and Rusev is not. So he's a brute. He's a Bulgarian brute. I say that with a lot of love, but I think they'd be great to be back together. Hopefully they do.
Jacob Simmel. I'm from Bulls Gap, Tennessee. I was looking for a house, and Jason, when I talked to him, it seemed like he knew a lot about what he was talking about, and he was a big help with anything I ever needed. It was my first time buying a house, so I didn't know what I was getting into. It was a good experience. I closed actually a week earlier than planned. Anytime I needed help with anything or had any questions, he'd answer right away and help me learn a lot too. I would gladly recommend anybody. Y'all are a big help, and if I ever go to buy a house again, I'd go with y'all again. My name is Jacob Stimmel, and I got into my first home with the team at SaveItConrad.com.
NMLS number 2129, Equal Housing Lender. SaveWithConrad.com.